Welcome back. So in today's video, I was asked a long time ago by one of the viewers to talk about the journey of mediumship. Some people stay in a place too long, and some people kind of run off and get a little bit carried away with themselves, don't they? So in this video, we're going to be discussing the journey and enjoying it rather than trying to rush ahead. So I know a lot of you like the shorter videos, but today I just, there's no way I can keep this one short. So maybe a point to get out now and not watch it. Equally, I'm going to say things that not everyone's going to agree with, or they're not going to like what I'm saying. But again, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about talking about the things that everyone seems to be avoiding. So I think we need to take it into sections, you know, the beginning, the middle and the end. So I bet every single one of you remember the first time, you know, you went to your demonstration, or you saw your first medium or psychic, whichever one it was, and you were introduced to a development group or an awareness circle. I bet you every single one of you still remember those moments when we're learning about energy, we're learning about blending and attunement, you know, all of these things that are magical in the first instance. You know, for the first year, I would say you're just captivated by what's going on with the people around you, how your mind is expanding, and how you start to perceive the world around you. I mean, it completely changes from one week to the next. Some people are quicker than others there, and other people just bask in that magical period for a little bit longer. We start to get excited, you know, your selected night, your circle's coming up, you know, your friends are coming round, whatever setup you've got there. You start to look forward to it. It's one of those things where you've been waiting all week, and now it's all going to come together, and you've had a week to ponder on an idea, or you're looking at your philosophy. And at this stage of our development, it doesn't really matter how you got there or what ideas you've got, because the fact is you got there. So that's wonderful. There's no right or wrong teaching in that example at this stage. It's later on that those philosophies or those ideas may hinder or restrict further development, but for the best part, you can't wait to get there. You don't know what the teacher's got in store for you, or you don't know what stories are going to unfold, and the blending or the attunement with the spirit world, you have no idea what's coming. So that level of excitement is very present, maybe the day before, a couple of days before, and it all starts to turn over. It all starts to get a little bit exciting. And maybe you're still at this stage, maybe you're still in that zone, and so whatever goes on in this video beyond this point, you can take into account for when you're about to move forward or go to that next stage or that next level of your mediumship, of your development, of your relationship with the spirit world. So then it becomes very familiar to us to be attending once a week, twice a week, maybe even 3 times a week. You know, once you've got the bug for it, you tend to go looking for more. And you know, this is potentially where things can start to get a little bit more difficult or a little bit more challenging for you, because the idea that you've had initially will be that of your first teacher, so their restrictions, their belief, their philosophy. Then you're taking it to another class or another group or whatever it is, and you'll have another idea, another philosophy, another set of restrictions, so on and so forth. And so challenges will be presented, and obstacles will be made. So you start to get the gist of communication, you start to get familiar with it, with the spirit world. And so we'll just, for the purpose of the video, we'll scoot to the next stage. You know, this is the middle section, I suppose. And what we're doing is we're becoming good. You know, we start to get the accuracy on the reading, and we start to be able to offer evidence, and we can sort of get an in-depth story, and this thread of the life that seems to flow through the communication will then appear in the message. And you know, you've got this good way, this good presentation, you're starting to get it. And so what happens then is, you may develop a little bit of a reputation. You may be one of the better ones of the classroom or the circle or the group, whatever it'll be. You're starting to know your way around. And so this at this point is very tricky. It's a very difficult one, and I see so many fail here, where the ego becomes overinflated, or it needs stroking in some aspects. So in this section, we offer our services as such, don't we? We kind of want to do more readings. We want to read more for friends or friends of friends or friends of friends of friends, and that allows us to sort of edge towards the public. But it's an area that's skipped very, very frequently. Not many people enjoy that segment. It can be tough. It can be hard. You're being introduced to the public sector, and the clientele you may have may be of a skeptical background or a very, very love and light aspect to the spirit world or spiritualism or spirituality. And so they're overcompensating. You've got like a sympathetic client and one that's overcritical. And so that bit there in the middle, it don't feel good. It's not a good section to be going through. But at class, you're getting it right. People are saying yes to you all the time. And so you kind of, you love the classroom here, but you're not so sure on this entering the public level. And so a lot of people kind of try to bypass this bit. I strongly recommend that you don't bypass this bit, but so many have, and so many will, and continue to do so. And so what happens is they want the stage, they want the platform as such. So if you're a demonstrating medium, that's going to be the goal. I want to be on platform. Some people just like the reading aspect, the one-on-ones, and maybe it's like MBS events, so mind, body, spirit, or these spiritual events that are gone, so you can have your own table or your own room, or they want to open their own school, and that list is endless. But what we're missing is this difficult hurdle in between. They're trying to bypass it or avoid it in some way. My advice here is, at this point, is maybe embrace that challenge that your friend's friend is placing on you. Embrace that. This is something that's going to serve you well, and it will make you look at your own philosophy, your own mechanics, and all that kind of stuff with your own mediumship, with the relationship you're building with the spirit world. This is a good thing. This isn't something to avoid. This is something that will make you better. And equally, once you start getting that right, and you start hitting the nail on the head there as such, and you start getting recognition in that department, then you won't have to ask to read for friends of friends, because you've hit the spot, you've got it right, and the friends of friends will go away and tell their friends, and they'll go away and tell their friends, and before you know it, you have a diary that's very, very full, and you didn't have to ask anyone or do anything to get that. You just worked very hard during your development. Let's skip along just a little bit more, and we'll go to the platform area, where you want the front stage, where you can demonstrate your mediumship to a room, whether that be your circle or at your local centre or your own private event. So this is a turbulence warning. Strap yourselves in, because this is the bit where I'm going to offend. So you've got the stage, you've got the front, you've got what you wanted to do, you've got your platform, and this isn't everyone. I mean, this is, that in every classroom you're going to have different layers, different quality, different abilities. That's part of the course, isn't it? But what happens is that you're wanting to get to the front. So you may know a friend that's on a committee, you may know a friend that's already a medium, and so what you do is you start asking, like, can you help me out? Can you get me a slot here? Can I do a dem with you there? Can I do this? Can I do that? And what everyone's, fails to comprehend at this point is that at that beginning stage, right there at the beginning, there is no pressure on you. There is none whatsoever. You're just learning. You're enjoying your mediumship. You're learning the mechanics and your own philosophy, and it really is an absolute joy to be in that state right there without any kind of bar set. There's no expectation. If you get through it, you get through it. However, we're joined by the spirit world. We're in the company of the spirit world. What a wonderful evening it is. And yet so many people just want to get out of that zone as quickly as possible, get the stage, get the name in lights, and before you know it, they're thrown in the deep end and the bar is set. I've caught this breaking weather, but it looks like I'm going to miss time. It's going to absolutely tip it down. So let me be the bearer of bad news on this particular bit so we can move on to the next part of the video. And if people are still there, then I've done something right, maybe. So, the bearer of bad news. See, when you go onto a platform and you've done only a couple of workshops, or you've been in circles 6 months, or whatever it is, a very small amount of development. Let me say it just straight, rather than trying to walk around the subject. Your audience can see it. Your audience knows that your relationship isn't developed. They know that you're weak and vulnerable. They know that you have hang-ups. They know that your presentation isn't so great. They know that you don't have the ability for depth or whatever. They know. Your audience know. They go week in, week out, a lot of them, and they will see the weaknesses within your foundation or within your relationship. Now, I personally myself know mediums that have got to a point where they're half decent, they're okay at what they do, and then they go home and think, right, that's it. I want my name in lights now. I want a bit of fame. I want to be known for what I can do with the spirit world. And they go home and they Facebook inbox every church locally. They write them letters, they send them a business card. They just want the stage. They want absolutely everything that they can get their hands on. And I'm not saying that's right or it's wrong. It just, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to ask. You shouldn't have to go hunting or, please give me work, please let me work on your platform. If your mediumship is strong enough, if your mediumship is developed enough, and you've spent enough time in development and in circle, and your relationship is good, people will talk. People will pass your name on to centres or their group, and they will find a way of getting in touch with you to book you an event, a demonstration, a divine service, whatever it is. They will find you. They will come and get you. At no point do you need to be getting sponsored ads, going out asking for work, etc., etc. I have never once asked for work. I've never once gone, please let me work there, please let me do this. And round it up or get a sponsored ad or anything like that. Your work will speak for itself. If you've got the development right, you're passionate about your work, and you don't care about fame, and you don't care about having your name in lights, and it's not about money, then they will find you themselves. So with this in mind, now insecurity, is now becoming a very close friend of yours. And now you need to start justifying who you are, because your dems aren't what people thought they were going to be. Your evidence ain't as good as you said it was, or so on and so forth. This is so familiar in the community right now. Camera nearly fell over there. So familiar in the community right now, so much so that my inbox is full of this kind of stuff. And so what we have to then start doing is we have to justify who we've worked with and what we're doing and who we know, and they've said this, and we start living in the name of someone else. So a name drop is, we all know a name drop has no power. Their stories have no power. It might be all right the first time hearing it or having it dropped into the conversation every now and again, but not put on posters or not using your Facebook for their story and what they done and what they achieved and so on and so forth. What matters is your last them. What matters is the relationship that you are presenting. Now, I can have banners and balloons made up with world-renowned medium, international medium, intergalactic medium, multi-dimensional medium, whatever it is. At no point in my advertising, when I am in charge of my advertising for an event, if I'm promoting an event, a ticket for myself, it will just be my name. That's it. There's no international means nothing nowadays. Not with Zoom. I mean, I work with 5-6 different countries every Zoom class that I work with. That doesn't make me international. World renowned. Well, I mean, people know me in Australia. People know me in America. People know me in Brazil and in throughout Europe and in the UK. Should I use world renowned medium? I mean, it's a promotional aspect. It makes you better than you are. It looks wonderful on paper, on your banner or on your balloon. And yet it will all come down to your dem. Everything will come down to the last dem you did. And, you know, like it or not, that's facts. That's exactly what it is. If you've got 1,000 people in that room, you can have all the promotional aspects. You can have people talking wonderful stories about you. You can be name dropping everyone. But if you get up in front of those 1,000 people and screw it up, them 1,000, that's what they'll remember. That's what they'll talk about. Not your banner, not your balloons, not your name drops, not your title, not your certificates, none of that. They'll remember the bad them. If we were to focus all our attention on our development, at no point in my development did I want the front. I remember a couple of tutors saying, come on up, you get it's your turn. And I didn't want it. I'm not interested. I don't want to work from the front. I don't want to work in public. I did this for me and understanding where my sister's gone. That's the sole reason I got into mediumship. And so I never needed the money, never wanted the money, never wanted my name in lights or anything like that. Didn't want CDs or books, and to this day I still have no CDs and I have no book to go out. Everyone's wrote a book now, haven't they? Everyone's telling you how wonderful they are and you know, and what a great medium they are. And then you make the effort, you go and watch, and it's not what you was expecting. The advertising told you a little bit different, didn't it? And so I think my advice would be, and again, you ain't got to listen to it, it's one of those, isn't it? I think my advice would be, remember these bits that are so magical. Remember when you didn't have a bar to set. Remember that first time connecting and getting it right. All of those things are actually the magical bit. It's not about having your picture and your name on a banner just behind you. It's not about having the theatre and having your name up like at the Apollo or anything like that. It doesn't matter who you share the stage with or what you're up to, because it'll all come down to the people out there. They'll say what they want to say regardless, won't they? I mean, so I see so many mediums cancel diaries, walk away from it, give up, it's too hard, they're too critical, the public are this, that and the other. And yet if we just spend a little bit more time, understand our philosophy, the mechanics, I don't see how it can go wrong. You look at everyone that's passionate about something, I mean proper passionate, not because they want to be famous. I mean, they're proper passionate. They would do it with or without money. They would do it regardless of scenario. Whatever ingredients we're going to put there, regardless, they're still going to do it. And I think that makes a big difference rather than wanting to leave a legacy of, oh, the world's greatest medium, or the UK's best medium, the US's best medium, whatever it is. I always wonder who gives them those titles. Like, is it self-proclaimed? I don't know where they get these titles from. Who governs that? Who judges that? So my viewers said, you know, too many people are in a rush, and I have to agree. I really do have to agree. They are too in a rush. enjoy it. I mean, if it's something you want to do for the rest of your life, you want to make a career out of it, then why rush? Why be in such a hurry to get there? If it's going to be a passion, you're gonna focus the rest of your days on your relationship in the spirit world and showing the people out there that there is a spirit world. Then why be in such a rush to have the name, to name drop, to say how wonderful you are and get other people's verdicts of you and plaster that absolutely everywhere? Because the moment people come out and watch you, they'll make their own assessment anyway. No matter what justification you have, yeah, maybe you had a bad day, yeah, maybe this, maybe that, but the fact will remain that they'll have their say. They'll go on their social medias the same way we go on our social medias to promote an event, to promote something. They'll go on and promote the bad, the negative, so on and so forth. You know, something else to maybe think about is some of the best readings that I've ever received or demonstrations that I've seen have actually been in class. And I've spent a lot of money travelling to go and watch mediums and readings with mediums, etc., etc. And for those that are in so much of a rush to get there, maybe it's just like a friendly warning for you that the people that are serious and are putting the time aside and putting this investment into their development, they're doing that while you're in a rush. So when you finally get there, if you get there, I wonder how long it'll stay, how short-lived it'll be, or whether it'll be sustainable. I'm sure some of you will absolutely make it. I'm sure some of you will. But I know the ones that invest all this time and effort that goes into the development of their relationship with their spirit team are going to be the ones that are there 20, 30, 40 years down the line. So to those of you that are still at the very early stage, that magical bit, really stay there. Just enjoy it for a little bit longer. Because once we go out, once we go public, the pressures are mounting. If you've given up a job and this has become your security, then you need to be good or the work dries up. You know, it's going to be one of those things. I like the idea that you've got a sustainability within it, but it doesn't get much easier than that bit at the beginning, when the awareness is just switched on and you've got friends that are supporting you. You're not in a battle of ego. You're not in competition. You're not, and I know it's not a competition, but people make it a competition. You've got support. You can ring people, you can text people and ask them what they think of this and how does that work and blah blah blah, and you can just to and fro. The higher up you go, the less that happens. You can't band it around. You can't. Everything's accountable. You've hit the public now, and so because you're there, everything you do and say is accountable. So bear it in mind. So to my viewer that asked to cover the subject, I hope I've covered it for you in the way you wanted me to cover it. Maybe I haven't, you know. But this is what I see on a very regular basis, unfortunately. I have a lot of people inboxing me trying to fix mistakes or give them a better understanding, and these people are out there as professionals, you know. So like every time, I always try and help. I am always trying to guide and point in the right direction, and I know I would have offended some people. It's not my intention, but someone does need to talk about it. Someone does need to bring it up. Probably comes under pitfalls in some way of the spiritual community, doesn't it? So I'm going to round this one up, I think. Subscribe if you aren't already. Like the video if you liked it. Get in the comments. It's not about naming and shaming. I'm just a little bit worried that people will put names and that in the comments. It's not the purpose of the video. The purpose was to remind the people the joy of working without the pressures of professionalism. So I think I've covered that. I think I have. So I'm off. Looks like the sun's trying to break through. It's trying to rain. So I'm going to go, and I'll see you all in the next video, I suppose. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you at the early part of next week.